Hey, it's Holly Homer, and I thought we'd have some fun today talking to Carolyn about setting up a website. And I did this like 20 some years ago, and things were a little different then, but I recently did it again and by the way, in the meantime, I always had people do it for me. So this is what's so cool is Carolyn has come up with this system and the site that makes life so much easier than like dealing with WordPress, self-hosted WordPress deal. And by the way, that's just if those words scare you, there's like all sorts of stuff behind the scenes that scares you even worse. So welcome. And why don't you tell me how you like started all this? And then we'll get into exactly what you've put together, which is super fun.
Yeah, like any great technology company, our story is the same. We thought we were solving one problem, we fixed another. So, over 11 years ago, our company got started with a request to go help Nelson Mandela in a pediatric healthcare crisis in South Africa. So we were building solutions for those who are in South Africa, completely under-resourced. I mean, we think we know what it means to be under-resourced in North America. It's a little bit different in South Africa, where people were really under resourced, didn't have a lot of things. So we really needed to come up with a platform that was going to be really easy for them to instantly spin up like the latest and greatest technology without a lot of complication and take care of everything for them and then be able to communicate out. And essentially that birthed what is IHubApp, which is what your beautiful face is doing on our screen here with your website, because it's not just a website, which it absolutely is. It is also using the latest and greatest in progressive web app technology. So when people access hollyhomer.com from their phones, they can actually install it as an app and get all the notifications without going to an app store. So it's all in one. It's super simple. And that was kind of the genesis of how we came together.
Yeah, and I was because I had hollyhomer.com on a self-hosted WordPress site. Super like it was stuck in time. Like, it was frozen in time. And here I'm out teaching people how to do this. And I'm like, oh, but don't go to hollyhomer.com because it's not what I wanted it to look like. Which is like, yeah, not the best thing to say from the stage or in a podcast. So when I found out about this, there's several things that just drew me to it immediately. First of all, the mobile application is amazing. And you'll see that if you go to hollyhomer.com or any of the IHubApp sites, is it's just super seamless. Whereas in like even with like the updated WordPress, a lot of times you have to code each separately. And I don't do that. So it's just really frustrating. So that was really great. The other thing that I absolutely loved is it kind of turns your blog into a little bit of social media as well, in that you don't have to think about, oh, I need this post to be, 350 words with images and stuff like that. It could be a quick kind of hit, like, hey, here's an image, or here's something I saw, or here's a video or like you'll see on mine a lot. If I appear on a podcast, it's super easy for me to throw a little blurb on my site. Hey, I was on this podcast, here's the video, or here's the link, or go say hi here, or listen here. And that takes less than 30 seconds to put those things up, which makes this really a natural, and I know you use the word hub. I feel like you branded appropriately, but like it really gives you a home base for all your stuff. And it's not like it doesn't take a lot of time to manage.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that. While you were talking, I had it up on screen and I was showing people around. We are on inspirehub.com and we use our own technology for ourselves too. We do the exact same thing here, which is we use our posts too. It has that kind of social media integration. It's really great because the infinity scroll we know drives engagement. If you are using a traditional website, which has something called pagination, which is, here's a picture and a page, click here, go to another page, click here, go to another page. That is kind of a very old school way of doing things. If you think about the stickiest platforms that you're using yourself right now, you go in and you're not clicking from page to page. What are you doing? You're scrolling. You're
Right.
scrolling. And if something catches your eye, you go in, right? So that scrolling functionality is very powerful for engagement. On top of that, one of the things that's very different, and in addition to taking care of the hosting, you get a free subdomain, you get all those good things with us. You do get all of this feed right here, which we use for ourselves, is completely automated. And when you put a post into your hub, you can see we put up posts into our hub, you have ones, it does a bunch of things. When people are accessing your hub from their phones and you put in a new thing, they can actually get the push notification. Hey, Holly's posted something here. On desktop, it comes across as a desktop notification. But I think the thing that everybody loves about our platform is the automated newsletters that are personal for the users. So when you create topics of interest, that you're creating for whatever that is, that your website is, people can subscribe to different channels. And when they do, our technology goes through it every week and says, oh, look, you're registered. Are you a member of this channel? Yes or no. Is there new content in this channel? Yes or no. And if it's yes and yes, then it actually puts together a personal newsletter for that person. And we created that for fundraising because one of the big complaints about newsletters back in the day, which is what we were trying to solve, was that if you put a newsletters are where it's at to get money for fundraising.
Right.
But if you put a piece of news in a newsletter for as a charity that doesn't immediately apply to that person, you actually train them to never open up future emails from you. That's a big problem. So when we were creating that, we were creating it for that specific use case. And of course, fast forward over a decade later, everybody loves that because our newsletters go through the roof with engagement. Because if you have all these different people in front of you, they're all getting newsletters that feels personal to them. And the best part is you've done nothing, like absolutely nothing.
Literally nothing. It just goes out
Literally
automatically. In fact, I get excited when my own newsletter comes.
for yourself
Yes.
that you've done. Yeah, that's awesome.
Because
It is.
I didn't touch anything. I just did my normal thing, and it sends me the stuff, and I like all the stuff on my site, so it sends me a wide variety.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think especially for first time, if you are brand new to the web world, it can feel really intimidating because I remember I had somebody's like, I want a website. They're like, so first I'm like, well, which tool do I use? Oh, now I need hosting. Well, I also want newsletters. Oh, what if I want surveys? And now I also want, it's like it just kept growing into this
Right.
big monster. And the nice thing about IHubApp is so simple. Like literally launch
Yeah.
a hub and I wanted to show a sample of like this is what we call our sunny day template, which is
I
really
love it.
pretty. But here's the fascinating part about all of this. The only thing that's designed is like all you have to do is create images, which you can do in Canva. So
Mhm.
beautiful. Just create them and put them into the slider. That's it. And then these are just the posts right
Right.
here that are being uploaded. And the colors of your post, the designs of your post, everybody can create a pretty image in Canva
Mhm.
now. So there's not this complicated situation of like, oh, but what do I do here and how do I put that? Just all you have to do is think about I want my sliders up here and I want my post to
Mhm.
start with, and it automatically starts working. The newsletters, the more posts you put in, the engine starts working. And it's the easiest thing in the world to upload a slider and upload a post that's pretty and go.
Yeah, and I think the other reason, kind of going back to all of this, is that your person that comes to your site once they've logged in and they've interacted with you and they've chosen what topics they want to interact with you, will see something different on the front page, not just the newsletter, which works really well for people like me who like have super opposite conversations. I run kids activities. I also teach people to blog at a high level. And then I do some other stuff. And so it's like, if you're not a parent, you really, you don't care about the kids' activities, stuff like that, but you
No.
could still like, but if you're a blogger, you may only want the blogging advice, or if you're somebody on online business, you may not want the blogging advice, but you want like the social media and that kind of stuff. So you can see
Yeah.
all my different, those are my categories, and you can subscribe to one or all of them or three of them. And so you can see that when you come to the front page, you're only going to see what you're subscribed to.
Correct. And I think that's important. We've really built a lot of automation into our platform that works with us too, right? Because we have different audiences. We have everybody in the world building hubs. And I do mean, I'm like, we have you and you're a mega influencer. I've got some investigator down in Panama. He's got a hub. I was surprised that private investigators want
Mhm.
hubs, but they do. I mean, we have every type of organization coming into us. So we also have created those channels that they can subscribe to get the tips and the tricks that they're looking for, and it really does. So when they subscribe, this feed actually zips in those
Yeah.
channels that they subscribe to, as well as the stuff you put directly onto the home feed. So when you put it on the home feed, everybody in the world sees the home feed, but then it can be custom curated
Mhm.
based on the channels that they're joining, and that makes it really powerful.
Yeah, and like we're looking at my front page of hollyhomer.com, and you can see the one with the girls in the red dress. That's an Instagram post that is just came
Hmm.
straight over from Instagram. So I wanted to highlight that because it's something I wanted, because on Instagram, it's like a few sentences, but then I was like, hey, this is what I'm doing. So I could add a little bit of information to that. Whereas some of these others, like are more of a strategic, traditional blog post and that kind of thing. And you can really mix and match that. And I just, you can see, I just throw a whole bunch of pictures on the front and I'm not worried about the design aesthetic as much. Whereas somebody like on that scoop one, you could really get, clever on, oh,
Right.
I'm just using this color palette and stuff like that, which is really
Right.
fun.
And
Mhm.
even, we practice what we preach. So even on our page, you'll see that we do have some very specific designs. And if you scroll down, you'll also see that we're mixing in with
Mhm.
some, general
Right.
creative as well. So it really comes down to that aesthetic,
Mhm.
whatever you make. Now, we're showing the desktop version. I think
Right.
one of the things that because we're talking about websites today, so that's why we're doing it. But I think the important thing for most people that they need to remember is that the majority of traffic is coming through, and everybody knows this is true. It's coming
Yeah.
through our devices. We're accessing websites and tools while yeah, there's yours. It
Yeah.
looks
It's
so
so
beautiful
beautiful.
on the
And then
phone.
you can see it. I mean, it's basically like a social media feed. It's really beautiful.
Right.
And then you can click on any one of those and open it up. But it's like it's seamless. That's what's so crazy is like I didn't have to do anything to make that happen.
No, it just automatically
I
does
mean,
it.
you
And
might have had to do something behind the scenes, but for me, it was super easy.
no, no, there was nothing. All you had to do is put in your posts. And that's really, I mean, there are all these other tools. We have
Mhm.
engagement tools for when
Yeah.
people are growing. People ask us, like, well, what if I want to sell tickets? It's already in there.
Yeah.
What if I want to do these other things? Already in there.
Well,
All
and
you have to do is add that in. So it's
that
not
brings
hard.
up the cost. The other thing I love about this is the cost is, well, it's ridiculously reasonable. There is a free level, and then the $14-ish one that is per month is really has pretty much like all the bells and whistles someone who, has a pretty robust blog would need. And then you can add those extra things down the road, like if you wanted a paid membership or something like that.
Exactly. And so the light package allows you to actually custom domain, like white label the entire hub. So if you go to hollyhomer.com right now, you're just going to see hollyhomer.com,
Right.
right? The free version would have been
I have.
hollyhomer.ihub.app, right? Which is still not
It's
bad.
great. Yeah.
But the other part, it does unlock some other great
Mhm.
features and more usage. But even, if you get into our light version as a way I tell everyone, get in, build for
Yeah.
free. It's, you can see if it's working for you. Add a lot of posts. That's the big thing we tell everybody. Just get in there and start adding posts. So if you're not adding posts, there won't be a newsletter.
Right.
That's the other thing that happens, right? Because it just Our system goes nothing to see here, nothing to send out. But if you're adding those posts in and you're bringing people in, and we take care of absolutely everything, including the registration process, the LinkedIn, like all the things that if you were trying to build this in another tool, you would have to add another plugin, add
Right.
something else in. It's already all done. You can get in there, you can create private channels, you can create public channels. We have other paid channels coming soon.
Mhm.
So get in today and just start building and playing with it because it works and we're loving it.
Yeah, and I'm absolutely loving it. And I'll just do a small commercial for exactly what kind of pushed me over the edge where I was just like, oh, this is a no-brainer, is the email list. Is so when someone comments on your post or when they sign up to be a part of your site, they are signing up for basically your email list. And if you were to host that on another, on another provider like I do, like my bill on my other site is over $1,000 a month for my email list. And this is included in this site and it happens automatically. You don't have to like write them and all that kind of stuff. And there's all sorts of fun little tricks that you can do with that email list that you can worry about once you get in and do all this. But just the simplicity of when you write, that person, if they're interested, is going to automatically be sent that is just pure genius and worth way more than $14 a month, by the way. I'll just throw that out there.
Yeah, well, that's the goal, right? Is to
Mhm.
is to provide tremendous value.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're trying to do. And there's a lot of reasons why we're able to do that in a way. And we've been around for a long time. I think that's the other thing that we should mention is like, there's a lot of different things spinning up in the world right
Yeah.
now. We've been around for 11 years. We've been in different markets. We are in different countries. We are fully compliant. We work in some of the most stringent countries with the highest privacy legislation, and we are compliant. And that I think is really important. Like
Mhm.
when you're thinking about where you're going to sign up, create a website, for
Right.
example. How are you going to have some peace of mind about what you're creating and how you're creating it? It's
Mhm.
not just the functionality, it's also like, who are we working with? Well,
Yeah.
I'm a real person. I think this is really important. Like, we are real people and you can actually talk to us. Like, you can get a hold of us. So
Well, and I'll
that's
just,
also intentional.
yeah.
That's
I'll
also
just throw
intentional.
another thing out there because when you come in and you see you'll have a template that you can like Carolyn was showing, you can just switch out the pictures and you're good. But like if you're like one of those people like, no, I want to move the furniture around, I want to have a designer. They have people that can do that. You do not need to do that, but they have amazing designers that could
Yeah.
come in and customize a whole bunch of stuff. And like there's a business opportunity down the road if you're looking for a side gig or something to do someday, is they have that you could become a designer for these sites too, which going through their little is it called a university? What do you call that training?
Yeah, it's you can come through our training and become a
Yeah.
certified
Mm-hmm.
hubmaster and actually get accreditation through our company. We certify you. There's a quiz. There's things that you can do. When you do that, it opens up a whole world where we will help promote you. You get to be put in our hubmaster directory. We're getting a lot of inquiries from people who are like, I do want a hub. And I just don't even have time. Like you can see some of these
Yeah.
designs are really
Or it's
beautiful. This
really
is
elaborate. That's
like
beautiful.
this is and again, this is just using our off the shelf. The only thing that's changed here is the sliders
Mm-hmm.
and the posts.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to make things look very different just using that. But in your case and my case, like for example, we are using our own certified hubmasters internally to us to create something that looks a little bit more sophisticated on that landing page.
Right.
Everything else that we're doing is just it's all just engine driven with
Mm-hmm.
our posts because the heart of what we do is our posts.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
love that.
really what matters. Yeah. Hmm.
And really, the cool thing is too, is you could sign up today. You could actually have this spun up in less than an hour, probably 20 minutes if you're, if you already have the pictures and stuff that you know that you want to use, and you can be posting immediately. And that's the other side is the ability to post from pretty much anywhere in a really quick manner is something that has let me post way more. Like if you go back and look at it, I've posted several times a week since I've been on iHub. And then there was like a drought of 3 years when I wasn't. So it's like, I'm
That's
all
true.
excited. And then you're like, wow, this seems really old. Like Holly has aged.
That's hilarious. What's going on? No. Yeah, it is super easy because I mean, how long does it take for you to create a post?
Like, no, I mean, like most of these, and most of these are pretty simple. Like they're like, hey, I'm doing this, hey, I'm doing that. Like it's less, I budget less than 5 minutes. I'm just, oh, I'll go throw that up before I go check my email or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. We hear that all the time from all the clients that are coming over because the creating a web page or even a blog, like a blog article that goes in your website, is not as fast as creating a post. Because when you do create a post, all you have to do is click a compose button. I'm just going to show you on
Yeah,
my
that would
own
be
site
great.
where I'm going to like register real quick, put my money where my mouth is, and like you can see, get in there. And we're going to log in and that's it. Okay. So I just logged in. That was the login process,
Yeah, and then
right?
the little
So
compose button in the lower right side, like it opens
yeah,
up and you like three things, put a few words in, and you could really post.
yeah, that's it. And it gives you a little form to fill out. So
It
right
really
here,
is.
when you're doing this, you've got the ability to go ahead and put that in. Yeah, so it's right there. So
I
there you
absolutely
go.
love it. So one of the cool things, and I was just telling Carolyn about this, is that my friend Christine is going to start a site, and we're going to follow her through each step of the way, and just to prove, because like I haven't been through the very first, because I was a little bit more complicated in that we like rolled over what I had on another site. But if you're starting from scratch, it's literally less than an hour
So
process.
easy.
If
Yeah.
you are rolling in from another place, you're just going to want to contact the team at iHub, and they will work with you. So that's possible too. But I see this as such an important place for anyone that's starting something new, no matter what the topic is, or in this case, it could be like a lifestyle, like, hey, I'm talking about life and business and cats and, like all the things all in one place. And you don't have to worry about like, kind of, subjecting people who are not allergic to cats to your cat content like you would in other places.
Yeah,
So just do it.
speaking of cats, I'll show you the hub that I don't ever go to because I refuse to. Which is Pet
Oh,
and Wildlife Rescue out of Canada. And just to show you the different ways
yeah.
people do it, this is how they've set up their web experience. And they are the bulk of everybody that accesses them is only coming through the phone.
Yeah.
I refuse to, this
Oh
is
my
why, look at
God.
that.
Oh my
I
God.
refuse.
See?
I re- and,
See?
and I tell her all
The
the time.
bunnies.
The executive director always sends me things like, "Did you see that post?" And I'm like, "I refuse.
Yeah,
I will
stop.
have a house filled of, well, not that of snakes, but of this. This is going to
Oh,
be a yeah." And so
yeah.
they implemented this, and same thing. Their newsletters are going great, and yeah, and then we have lots of different. We have you on
Right.
there. It really is an easy way to create engagement. And I'll also just show you one more hub that I think
Yeah.
is just great. This is a brand new magazine for
Oh,
Lymphology Life that is
mhm.
coming out for the lymphedema world. It's a wellness site. And I
Nice.
love what they're doing too, because they're selling things, but same thing. They're putting up communications
Right.
and promotions, and you can just see. And again, the big thing is it automatically sends out notifications.
Mhm.
People are actually populating this hub behind the scenes in community channels, and they're doing a lot of exciting things. So we're seeing it get used in many different ways.
Yeah, and what the other thing is like, as I've been on the internet for a super long time. I know you have too. Is that one of the things that we had been talking about for a really long time was community, 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 community. And but there wasn't really tools to do that off of the social networks. And now with iHub, it really makes it a lot easier for you to reach out and touch those people that you're creating a community around whatever content, whether it be rescuing puppies or or whatever
Yeah.
you are.
Or
It makes it cool.
yeah, and I do think it's important, this is really about creating your experience for your audience, right? In the
Mhm.
case of Holly Homer, I think, one of the things we talked about was having a place to bring in
Mhm.
all the places because you needed a hub. You are
Yeah.
everywhere. You're in
Yeah.
YouTube, you're on
Mhm.
Instagram, you're over here, you're over there. And you wanted one centralized place where people could come and have the full experience. But the other part is when somebody is in here and they go into a post and they're engaging with your post and they're loving it and they're like, oh, look, that brought me right out to this great article about you. Or I want to go into the post and see what's going on. And
Mhm.
every single post, we've actually already built it in that your community can help share your story. So they can actually share it out to Facebook and to X and to LinkedIn and
Mhm.
to whoever else. So it's not just a one way of bringing those in, it's also the other side, which is pushing it out so that they can engage that community
Yeah.
in their social and be like, hey, come check out this great article. And it's again, you don't have to do anything. It's all
No,
done. It's
you
all
don't.
done. It's ready to go.
It
Just create
is
a
done
post.
automatically. And like I said, it's one of the best newsletters I get. It's my own newsletter.
I love it. I love it.
So, so anyway, we just wanted to kind of hop on and talk about this kind of at the beginning, and then we're going to follow Christine going through and creating something, and you'll get to know my friend Christine, which is awesome too. But then like to show you how easy this is, but you can get started today, like right now, by just clicking on the link, and it will take you to where you can basically pick up the Holly Hub like template, which is really cool.
Yeah. So in your case, everybody just go to hollyhomer.com.
Mhm.
Just go straight to hollyhomer.com. You're going to see this great slider here called Build Like Holly. Click on it. There you go.
Build like
Click on
Holly,
Build Like
right there.
Holly right there, and it will automatically take you to where you need to
Mhm.
go. So just go
Yeah.
to hollyhomer.com, click on Build Like Holly, and it's the easiest thing to get in there. Go through the steps, fill it out.
Mhm.
And if you have any questions, we do not provide support usually to anybody who is on our free versions. But the special offer for anybody who's coming from Holly is if you do have any questions, you can actually ask us. And but you do have to identify that you're coming through Build Like Holly.
Cool.
Let us
I
know.
appreciate, yeah,
Yeah.
because I know that I can't even imagine how many questions you get through that channel. And then I would say, just as a caveat, I know I'm obsessed with the color orange. Your site does not have to be orange.
It does not. We've got yellow, we've got blue ocean, we have very elegant. And by the way, we have these templates that are just set there. We also have a neutral one getting launched
Mhm.
next week, which is just, white.
Yeah.
And you can change all the colors. You can change the blue. Once you're in the blue ocean, you can change it to a green ocean. You can
Yeah.
do whatever you need to do for your brand colors.
I just didn't want to
Yeah.
scare anybody with the bright orange. So,
Oh, speaking of all the colors behind you, you can do and make the hub. Any of those colors,
any
all
of
of
the
them,
colors,
all the colors. Yeah,
any of the colors behind Holly you get. All right. Well,
yeah.
thank you so much. And I am sure we'll be chatting again in the future because this is so much fun as we get people in and using different things. Because I would love to do another one in the future about some of those hidden features that I probably am not even using at this point. Because like I always find everyone like, what does that do? That's so cool. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
all right. Well, thank you so much, Carolyn. We really appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Ollie. Bye.